Hey guys, today's lesson is all about how to use a graphing calculator. If you don't have a graphing calculator, I still expect you to do this lesson. There's lots of online graphing calculators that you can use to kind of follow along. I don't have a graphing calculator here with me either, so I also have to use one of those online graphing calculators. But this is going to be really important for those of you planning on going into either Dash 1 or Dash 2 math next year, where graphing calculators become mandatory and you need to have some of this background information. So follow along as I go over some of the basics of using a graphing calculator. And then today's lesson will be all like PDFs that also kind of walk you through a lot of how to do these different steps. Okay, so this is one of the older versions of a graphing calculator. It's actually the kind that I had when I was in high school. But it's going to work very similar to most of the newer version of Texas Instrument, and it'll be fairly similar to even some of the other brands of graphing calculator. So yeah, let's get this turned on. And so this is obviously just like the normal screen. Now, if you want to plot a line, you're going to go to the Y equals button up at the top here, and that'll give you this screen here. Now, anytime you are plotting an equation or writing an equation in a graphing calculator, it does have to be in slope-intercept form first. So make sure that your equations are in the form y equals mx plus b, and then you can plug them in. The other thing that you want to watch for is making sure that anytime you have a negative sign in your equation, that you're using this negative button down here and not the minus button. So for instance, if I was doing -2, it would look like that. This button right here is where you get your variables, so I can use that to write x. And then if I was doing like -3, then I could use the minus button, like so. And then in order to see what that would look like on a graph, I just come over and hit this graph button, and there's my line. You guys, because we are dealing with systems of equations, are always going to be doing more than one equation at a time. Just remember when you're doing fractions that you want your fraction to be in brackets. So for instance, if I had like 2/3, I would write it like that. And then my x minus 5, something like that, and then graph. And then you can see my other line. The one other thing that you do need to be aware of is this thing called the window. If we click on window, you'll see this screen here, and it says X min, X max, X scale, Y min, Y max, Y scale. Those are the important parts. The X min and the X max are how far across your Y axis goes, so how wide your graph is. And then the X scale is just what's it going up by. So if it's saying that the scale is 1, it's going up by 1s all the way from -10 to 10. And then the Y's are obviously just your height of your graph. In this case, it's going from -10 to 10 with a scale of 1. So if you plot your graph and it's not showing up, it might just be that your scale is too narrow. You're too like zoomed in on the graph. So you can always come back to this window here and change it. So if I wanted to, I could change it to like -20 to +20 and go up by 5s or something like that. Okay, though you do usually want to start with -10, -10, 1. That's kind of the standard window. Okay. So yeah, if we go back to our graph, that's what it now looks like because I have changed my window. I actually didn't mean to. There we go. we go back to our graph. There is also this zoom button. So another way to try and find where your lines are is to zoom in or zoom out. So you can do that as well if you need to. The last thing that I want to talk about is finding our intercept. So finding where these two lines are intersecting. So that's our point of intersection, which is our solution to this system of equations. And it will walk you through this on the very first page of the handout that I'm going to be giving you guys, but I'll just kind of show you how it works as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do trace, and then one sec, let me figure this out. Okay, sorry, it's not trace, it is second trace. There we go, so it's the calculate that we want. And then we're going to go down to intersect, so we just hit 5 to get intersect. And then we just hit enter 3 times. 1, 2, 3, intersection. There we go. So the solution to this would be 0.75 and 4.5. And sorry, that's not on the first page of the handout I'm going to be giving you guys. It's actually on, I think, the last one. But yeah, just that's all you do. So just to show you that one more time, I'll just clear it. So second trace, 5, enter, enter, enter. And that's our solution. Okay, so that's really all you need to know how to do. The one other thing I will say, just to double check, if you hit second and then your y equals button, you'll come to this screen. You do want to make sure that all of these say off. So if they say on, just go over and turn it off. It won't work properly. Your graphing calculator won't work properly if any of those are turned on. Okay, so that was second y equals. But yeah, that's really all that you're going to have to be able to do is plug in your equations in y equals mx plus b, change your window if you're too zoomed in, and then hit graph. And then one last time, second trace, 5, enter, enter, enter. Okay, feel free to email me if you do have any questions about this. There's at no point on the quiz or the test going to be a question that requires you to use a graphing calculator, but you're always welcome to use a graphing calculator to double check your answers or anything. Okay.